judges, introduce yourselves, please.
Chris Everett, Clark, shop steward.
Patrick Sims, sandalwood operator.
Rahila Saeed, sandalwood operator.
Okay, thank you for coming and being our judges today. Okay, so as we've done, actually, I won't even use it.
What are they judging?
So prior to this, we've drawn the numbers. So the incumbents drew out first, okay, and we're going to do, as Chris said, every question's going to cycle through. Each question, and the judges panel, they've reviewed each question as for the relevance. They've reviewed for content, and that has made sure it's a general question in nature so that it can be asked to all 5 of our nominees. Okay, it will not be addressed to one individual. None of the questions will be. Okay. Okay, so when asked the question, that nominee will have 90 seconds to give an opening statement. 90 seconds for an opening statement. When asked the question, 3 minutes will be given to the nominee to answer that question. If during that answer, that nominee refers to a competitor nominee by name or by position for whatever reason, and it's caught by the judges, that person who's referred to will get a 30-second rebuttal. And then there will be a 15-second rebuttal to the rebuttal if necessary. And that will be the only time when the nominees will, in a manner of speaking, interact with each other. What we're trying to do is we're trying to completely avoid the vitriol and the nastiness and the attacks that has disgusted most of us here. So that's the goal here, is just not to have the direct interaction if they continue to answer the question the way they need to. Okay, so this is what I mentioned. At no other time will be permitted for that question once the rebuttal has happened. That's the end of it. We move on to the next question. Okay? Once the 90 minutes or 11:40 comes up, that question will be declared the last question. At the end, each nominee will get 2 minutes to give you their closing statement. All right? Once that closing statement happens, that will be the end of the town hall. Okay? I'd like you to go through your names and introduce yourself and give yourself the 90 seconds introductory.
I'm going to use microphones.
If you'd like.
Good morning. Everybody knows who I am, I guess. Frank Vanny. I'm the incumbent president. Can you hear me? So we're gonna, I guess for this debate is to inform everybody here of what we're all gonna tell you we're gonna do and all the promises and everything else. But again, we've had 3 years of something we've never had before in this union. We've made it through. Unfortunately, not all of us or all the people made it through. We did have a couple of casualties through the pandemic. I know that we talk about in social media that the pandemic wasn't fixed because of Frank Vanny, but I don't disagree with that. It wasn't fixed because of Frank Vanny, but this union was helped along through due to the executives in this union and the shop stewards and everybody else that was involved. So, again, I'm running for president again. Well, I'd love to get through this and inform you about what we're all going to do, and I'll pass it along to Andrew.
Good morning, sisters and brothers. My name is Andrew Salaby. I'm running for president of our local. I decided to run for our president because I felt there was a need for change in our local. I feel that my expertise and experience can contribute a lot. I want to see us move forward. I believe in a united local. I believe that through technological changes and modernization, we can see a brighter future. And with our upcoming contract negotiation, language, and anything that has to do with our work environment, it really matters, and I want to see a change in that. So please consider this as you take a look at the panel and what we have to offer today.
Good morning. My name is Ismail Pashapuri. I decided to run for president. The reason for it because I see there is no united front there at the present time. The reason for it is if there is no communication and there is no united on the top level, it's not going to trickle down to the whole membership. I decided to run for it because, as Andrew said there are change needs to be done. Hopefully, we're gonna be going forward, united all together to achieve whatever we're planning to achieve. Thanks.
Good morning all, Jagtar Sidhu, batch 440, running for president candidate. The reason I'm running is I think all the members we need to get united here, and then executive should be approachable for all the candidates, they easily accessible as well. And I think new ideas can be generated when the new people gonna be running for the position, and as well as they can implement new ideas here. That's my reason for that.
Good morning, I'm Driver Financing. I'm running for president for the union. Right now, our union is divided and we need to come together. I've had 20 years experience as a driver in Brampton. At Brampton Transit, 9 years I was on the Joint Health and Safety Committee. And in the last contract, I was a member of a negotiation committee. We devised a strong contract put forward, but it was never used. I want to work towards bringing this union together, and I want to be honest with the people, form a good alliance so that we can build this union into a stronger union and move forward. Using technology, I want to include everybody in our quest to move forward and gain strength within the union. Right now we are divided, and that's one of the main goals. We have to get together and build a stronger union. Thank you.
So now we're going to start with our first question. Okay. Joe, if you could do the honors for me, please, and read this question as Koshi Lavin is not here today. This is question number 1. Frank, you'll be the one to answer first, and given 3 minutes to do so. Go ahead.
So every candidate uses the same tired and worn-out phrase that they will fight tooth and nail for the members if elected. What hidden advantage or X factor do each of you bring to the table, emotions aside, that make you different from the other opponent? Frank?
So I'm not sure about this expression, tooth and nail. I've heard it on social media. I don't think I've ever said it, but if anybody has any screenshots, I'm sure we do somewhere, of me saying something. The expression tooth and nail, I'm not sure what that means. If you walk into management's office going, I'm sure it doesn't mean that, but with my 3 years experience being the president of this local and everybody that I've represented with management, there's very few issues that we haven't resolved. Throughout the pandemic, there was a lot of issues that were dealt with. A lot of people moved around so they wouldn't get laid off or fired or so on and so forth. So we talk about divisiveness. During the pandemic, we seem to have all worked together to get through this. So I don't say that I'm going to fight tooth and nail, but I do promise, and I have represented everybody that has been in front of management, and we've had, as it was pointed out on social media, asking for information. We did have one casualty 3 years ago that was terminated. Again, her information won't be shared with anybody, but one casualty in 3 years, it's more than anybody else can say. So again, representing the members and fighting for the members. We have a contract coming up. This contract is very important. We can all claim that we have experience negotiating a contract. I can honestly say I have zero experience negotiating a contract, because I'm not going to make up stories. But I've had 3 years of dealing with management through the hardest times. And the next 3 years, or a year and a half before we start negotiating the next contract, is going to be any different.
You guys can stand up if you wish when you talk. Here, take this one. I will bring it back.
question, Kashi. I believe my X factor lies with my education and my experience. My background has coupled me with the ability to articulate and understand contractual language very easily. Yes, I am young, but I believe that's an advantage as well. I'm the youngest person on this panel, but I'm bright-eyed for our local. I believe that my youth brings energy and it brings vision. I hope to achieve many things for our local. I'm one of only 2 members on this panel that has actually sat on contract negotiations. I actually went to school for municipal bylaw, and the main focus there was breaking down statutory law and articulating the meaning and adjusting language. So my X factor lies with my experience, my X factor lies with my education, and my written and verbal communication skills are far beyond average. Thank you.
Hello again. As like everybody else there, we all got experience in doing what we're doing. For the past 15 years there, I've been representing maintenance. And the reason I was so successful in representing them the well I could, it was because of my communication with my shop stewards. And I hope I bring the same strategy to the higher level and have the same communication with all the board members, try to get the best contract we can. 2 times been sitting at the contract negotiation, every education that I can think about, my age and my experience with dealing with the management in the capacity of board member, it all speaks for itself. Everybody would criticize the contract that we got in the last 2 times that I was involved with it, but nobody was there to see what kind of a problem we had to deal with. So I hope in the next negotiation, we would have the support of the whole membership, try to put forward whatever we would like to have. And I would fight the best I could with all my experience, try to put forward the best contract we can get. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Very good morning back again though. I think I'm diplomatic, I have a diplomatic character as well as we choose and pick and fight. We're being a part of member, Joint Health and Safety Committee member, brother Derek and brother Hugh David can acknowledge as well. We have, like I've been fighting for you, all the membership from last 3 years. But again, when we are fighting for this contract, we have to be very diplomatic as well as we have to worry about the language as well, no doubt. But for the language, we can hire a lawyer. We've been everyone saying that they have a knowledge. I think we need to have the good, to get the good language, we have to have a good lawyer as well sitting by us though. Like we can spend so much money there. But when it comes to again, when it comes to again about the contract, we have to have a diplomatic approach as well as a strong character as well as fighting spirit as well as a strong backbone as well though. Based on that, I'm the right candidate for that.
One of the things we have to concentrate on our new contract is delivering what we promise to the members. And when we go towards this contract, we have to get the insight from each member and each department, what they need, build a strong negotiation committee, and hear what all the members want. Let everybody be a part of the negotiation. Bring, when we negotiate, bring the results to the people and let the people decide. We have to have a strong negotiation committee, and I was on the one before, and that was a very strong committee. We need to join forces together and fight for what we want. Not giving up on any of the stuff we have available. there are a lot of stuff we need to fix in our contracts and even in our union to have our people stand together and not be divided. This is one of our biggest problems we have, and I have to work towards getting everybody on the same page. There's too much infighting in our union, and that has to be corrected. That's one of the major issues, and I think working with people, we can get those things fixed before moving forward. Because right now we are divided and we are weak. You guys know that. And if we can't unite as a union and move forward, we're in big trouble. Thank you.
Okay, so question number 2. We have seen an increase in assaults and violence on transit lately. We have a shield that only goes halfway, and passengers are still able to reach in or throw things at the driver. If elected, is there anything you can do more to address this escalating situation? Can the shield be extended, or can we look at transit enforcement? Frank?
Nope.
Sorry.
This is an excellent question, Kashi, thank you. I do believe that there is more that we can do for our operators to see them working in a safer environment. I believe we can work with looking into engineering a shield that extends. Pardon me? Test, is it working? I believe we can look into engineering a shield that possibly could extend from the front glass of the bus sitting on the dashboard. I think it would be a technical process, but one that I'm willing to work with management to look into doing. Of course, that additional partition of the shield would have to adapt for space on some of the buses with MDTs and of course the mirror. So I do believe that it would be an extensive process, but one that I'm definitely willing to look into and work with the management to achieve. As for additional safety features, I do believe that we could pressure the management to increase the amount of security staff that are available at terminals and possibly have fixed staff at location for turnaround points in an effort to provide a faster response. Lastly, I do believe to this point we could possibly work with maintenance to arrange for quarterly audits of the yellow switches on our buses. As shop steward, I've realized that in many meetings I'm involved in that has to do with the salt, sometimes the yellow switch did not work or it wasn't active, and I do believe there's more that we can do to make sure that the bus is functioning as it should be, the safety features are all in order, and we can look into security and that glass as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. This question keeps coming up there about the shield and safety of the operators. Unfortunately, up to now there we got a health and safety who looks into all this aspect of the shield and all the seats and everything that it goes with the safety of the operators. Yes, there are room to improve it, but it's all gonna come down to how much we can muscle the management to foot the bill for it. The reason the shields are the size that they are right now, they already been presented to the operators, and the majority of the operators approve the shield which is installed already. I'm not denying that there is no room for improvement, but there are few technical problems with it. One is that the shield has to be able to open by the operators. And if the operator would not have any access to retract the shield to open the door, there is no possible for them to get into the operator seats. And if we're gonna leave the door open, then there is safety is already out the door. Extending the shield there is not very hard to do, but it's gonna be different for each one of the buses, as this one is already one fixed solution for all the buses. In some buses, they're shortcoming, and in some other buses, there is very adequate to protect the operators. But all that said there, the bottom line comes down to, regardless of if the maintenance is gonna look into it or no, once there is a concern, we always got a health and safety can fight for all these things there. It doesn't have to wait for a negotiating time there. If I'm the president, hopefully I would lead the health and safety, try to push the management, try to find the creative solutions bring more safety to the operators. Thank you.
Very good question though. Right now, that's what exactly we are facing, the increase, like shield, as brother said, that nothing can be done, but there's a chances of improvement which can be discussed later. But still, if I get elected, then I strongly advocate the transit, the enforcement. I strongly believe that we do need enforcement or better enforcement, as well as a better like security system though, like where it does not take all those controller to reply back in an hour, where we were, I fought one case there, it took them 1 hour to reply back to one of the operator, and he was getting harassed by a passenger at the Bramley Go station, not being disclosed the name of the person, not disclosing the name though, but 1 hour wait wasn't enough though. That's why number one, that's the point we can where we can hold them responsible, as well as we can encourage management or city to encourage to educate the ridership as well, and for the rules and regulations, because we know the rules are already there, but nobody follows. That's the one thing we can do, as well as advocating there, like, and number two is we can ask them for the stickers as well, like where all the rules and on all the advertisements over the bus terminals, as well as the bus shelter should be showing there where they can, what the rules are there for the operators. Thank you.
I think this security for us is very important, and we cannot evaluate, put a money value to it. Money cannot save our lives. Every day we're out there, we are at risk. We need to have better response time from management. We need to have a better security system in place. Once we are in operation, we should have people available to us with a response time of about 5 minutes minimum. And this is not the case right now. With respect to the shields, we can ask them to put the existing shields that are there. We can get like a cage, a wire device, so that people cannot throw stuff at us, or get new shields, or increase the length of the shields so that they go further down, and just leave a little area for maybe 6 inches away from the windscreen. One of the issues is the glare in the night with these shields. That has to be corrected also. As far as transit security, I think Brampton Transit is growing so fast that, you know, there's so many people using our system right now, and they need to step up and have enforcement to protect us while we do our job. We're here to move people, and we shouldn't be at risk when we come out to work. You know, we should be protected by our employer 100%. Nobody should come to work and not feel safe in our work environment. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I understand that the shields that we approved years ago aren't necessarily the best, but they were the best at the time. We took a page from the TTC and their buses, but what possibly one person on this panel could have mentioned is that when we were in Niagara Falls at the convention, TTC is trying out a bus that has a full shield. It's being tested now by them, and if it works for them, it'll be implemented in other transit systems, which would include ours. When it comes to corporate security, I hardly call them security, I call them witnesses, because most of them are between 60 and 80 years old. What they need to do is start hiring more young people, more people that are more active in their roles, not sitting in their windowed witness podiums. We've already discussed this with the city, with the mayor, this new city manager, which started last week. So all this is already being worked on, it's already in the works to have more security. Transit enforcement. Transit enforcement is a nice thing to have, but understand that transit enforcement will not be on your side if something happens and you're at fault. They're there for management, not for you. Which Mississauga, Toronto, they're all the same. If you do something wrong, they're not gonna stand up for you, because they're just an extension of management. It would be nice to have them, with all the assaults that are going on, people getting threatened. We've had 2 incidents last week where people were threatened to either get killed or stabbed to death. There's a lot of people out there with mental health issues, and that's the main thing that the city's got to address, all these homeless people and all the mental health that's going on, illnesses that are going on there, because the majority of people that are threatening our operators are either homeless, they're looking for a place to sleep, they're looking for a place to get warm, and sometimes we just have to let them on the buses without any sort of engagement. Don't forget, our job is not to collect fares, not to impose rules. Our job is just to drive the bus and get home safe to our families. So the shields are being worked on. It's been in test since the convention in Niagara Falls. They actually brought the bus there for everybody to look at, so the shield goes right to the windshield. It does open, it does cut off about 6 inches of room in the driver's area, so that's why it's being tested, because we have different people, different sizes, different height, different shapes, so it's got to be able to be conducive to everybody. There is somewhere else in the US, I'm not sure which state, but they're also testing shields. I believe in Philadelphia they do have shields that close off the driver completely, so they can't be assaulted. Are you waving the white flag, Chris?
Yeah, 3 minutes, Frank.
Okay.
Thank you.
Snooze. Question 3 is pretty much a duplicate.
Excuse me,
I beg your pardon, you didn't.
I think he mentioned me that being at Niagara Falls.
No, so you didn't mention a name.
I actually didn't mention
Didn't
anybody.
mention any name.
No, he didn't mention
You
anything.
just mentioned me.
He just talked in common.
I would have done the same thing.
Good try, though. Good try.
Thank you.
Question 3 is a duplicate, just reworded it, and then question 2, so we're going to move on to question 4.
Mo was here? Mo was not here?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so question number 4. When they are going to negotiate the contract, what will their priorities? What will be their priorities, sorry. So when they are going to negotiate the contract, what will be their priorities?
But I assume by you saying them, it means the management.
No, you as a president,
What's your priorities?
you as a president, and for the members.
Okay, what our priorities would be our pay, benefits, and working conditions, all comes in one bucket. We have to try to do the best we could, get the best we can from the management concerning our pay, regarding all this inflation going around us. Unfortunately, we got locked in with the contract we have for another 1.5 years. Hopefully, we, at that time there, we would rectify, try to get the back pay for all these times that we're going backward instead of going forward. For the past that I remember, for all these times there, we've always been getting 2% increase every year. And then the rate of inflation was never below 2.9. The last 2 years we witnessed around 6, 7, 8%, which bring us back again that every time we're getting a raise there, we're actually going backward instead of going forward. The priority would be our benefits are getting cut down. Our pay is not keeping up with the cost of living, and hopefully we try as a collective, as a team to go forward and manage to get a better working condition, better pay for our members.
Very great question again, though. Yes, I think if I look at this way, that strong and clear language needed to be in our contract, where there's no gray area, which gonna help management, though that should be cleared as well. Then I look at the working conditions as well. Working conditions schedules are getting bad and bad, which need to be addressed as well, where we should have a say in the contract. Well, like any changes got to be done not be done without our approval, though, basically the executive board. And I'm looking for the increasing the benefits and not only increasing all the benefits, but only as well as if possible for the benefits after the retirement as well, which is important as well. And another thing as well I want to mention is that if I get elected, like I look at this way that it's our contract, so I will take all the input from the members, like what exactly needed to be changed. It's not my contract, it's our contract. I look at this way, which each and every member should get the survey done as well as all what they think is required to be changed. And I don't agree to furlough system as well. Will try my best again if I get elected. And I think employer must consult with the union for any changes or any like a bit prior to adoption or any changes they get it done. Though they should be discussed within the executive as well as where we are in the loop though that we should be agreeing. That's basically another language I will put it if possible. Thank you.
When it comes to the contract, beside increased wages and increased benefits, I want to fight for retirement package for operators when you leave here. After you put in 50 years or so with a company, they just kick you out the door. That's not right. I also want to negotiate and try to get all the weekend work as straights as opposed to splits. When time comes to negotiate a wage increase, I think we should settle for nothing less than 5%, ask for more, but nothing less than 5%. And we would not be giving up anything like our lunch break, our sick time. For the part-timers, we're a big company now, and I'd like to fight for the part-timers to become full-time. I've been here 20 years, and there are people who have been here as part-timers around the same time too. And that's unfair. They don't get any benefits. We have to fight for benefits for them. And when I say we, I mean the negotiation committee. I would go as much as asking every department what their needs are and form a strong union, a strong negotiation committee, and get all the input, put it to the people, and see what are the most important aspects to fight for when we go to the contract. Before making any decisions on a contract, I would come to the people and decide, let the people decide. People are talking about strike and all that. What would you do if you had to go on strike? I will not decide. I'm here for the people, and let the people decide what we will do. If we will accept the contract or if we will strike. If it comes to that point. We have to restructure the crews, work with management, not with management really, but board members, and see how we can get less stressful work for our employees. We don't want to come to work and leave in a stressful situation, and this is what is happening every day. People are frustrated. And we have to correct all these things. Thank you.
So, as we've gone down the line, we've talked about benefits, we've talked about wages, we've talked about how we haven't gotten what we needed, and our 2% raises aren't adequate. So far, that's been discussed, but everybody that's discussed this has been on a negotiating committee that was part of the whole thing. We need to, again, I'm not sure if the president has ever decided to go on strike without the membership's approval. I don't think that's ever happened. And to my knowledge, it'll never happen. The membership always decides whether we accept a contract. Previous contracts, we can blame everybody we want, and I'm sure I've done my extent of it, but we as members accepted every single contract. So whether we accepted it at 50% of the people, 70% of the people, 100% of the people, we still accepted it, we signed it, and then it moved on. We're in a 5-year contract. Is it the best contract? Probably not, but the next one could be better if we have the right people negotiating it, and by the right people, I mean anybody that gets elected. So we need to talk about wages, we need to talk about retirement. Fire has a package when they retire. After 65, they have a $30,000 benefit that they can use $3,000 a year for the next 10 years until they turn 75. That could be talked about during the negotiations. QP and fire both have a mental health program in there. It's $2,500 a year, $225 a session. We didn't ask for that, so we didn't get it, but everybody else did get it. Our benefits are still at $40 for massage, and that has to be increased. How much is it going to be increased? We can ask for parity with the fire and QP and the police. But will that happen? Probably not, but we can ask for close to it, because we didn't ask for anything in the last contract. So, again, things like this have to be discussed. Is it gonna all happen? Probably not. As Jai mentioned, the 5%, we need to get a regular raise and as well as a inflationary raise. Right? Inflation right now is at 7.8%. They say the economy in Canada grew so fast that they need to increase the interest rates again. So we're not looking at an inflationary reduction anytime soon. So for the next year, we're still going to be above 6%. So we have to ask to be compensated for that. And again, the membership has to be behind that. The president, the executives, they can all go into negotiations, but unless the members are with them, it can't happen.
Yeah, question. Can we ask for an extension if we want on the candidate to speak? No? Okay. Just a question.
Thank you for the question. What I would like to prioritize during negotiations, they fall under many important things I believe that will be necessary for our local, like merging all letters of understanding into our contract. I want to see an increase to our health benefits in all areas. For example, if we look at our dentistry coverage, we go there, we get a cleaning. Some of us have a good relationship with our dentist, some of us don't. Many of us are left with a bill, $10 to $20 that we have to pay because we're paying the previous year's rate. I want to see that diminished so that we are on par and not having to pay any balance. I'd like to see an increase to our massage and physio benefits as well. I'd like to see an increase to our wages, but not only our wages to adapt for the inflation, but also good annual increases to keep us on par or above. I'd like to see a contribution for operators for the cost of our work shoes. I would like to see an increase to our coffee money and our meal allowances. For mechanics, I would like to see an increase in the cash that you're allotted for your tool allowance. Most importantly, the language in our contract needs to be adjusted. There's many weaknesses. If we look at language that regards service delays and 2-hour minimums, it's unclear. And it's advantageous to management because when operators are coming back 20 to 40 minutes late every day, there's no compensation other than the service delay. And we need to see a change in that. We need to see development and adaptation in our language. We need to be efficient. We need to see a change. And these are what I would hope to negotiate for and push in our upcoming contract. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? When are the rebuttals allowed to happen?
Yes. Jai was mentioned by me.
Jai was mentioned by me, but it was only just.
up, actually.
It was, he was simply reiterating what Jai said. It wasn't in a competitive nature, it wasn't in any kind of derogatory nature or anything.
No, but I mean about.
A rebuttal would be
A
necessary.
rebuttal on some of the issues that we're talking about.
No, this is not a debate.
This is a debate.
I'm sorry, this is not a debate?
This is a town hall.
Mentioned by name.
Town hall.
The rule was that it
Hold
was
on a
mentioned by
second,
name.
let me read my social media.
Well, but he's agreeing.
Ben
with the point.
refers to this as a debate.
Excuse me, brothers and sisters, can I have 5 minutes of your time, please?
Who are you? Yeah, who are you?
My name is Craig Rolston, I'm badge 570, been off on disability for over 5 years. Sitting in the background watching, I don't need that, sitting in the background watching all this, listening to all this. I'd like to read a statement. I'll walk out the door, you can be the judge after that. It will alleviate a lot of the bickering. If you give me 5 minutes, rest assured.
Actually, I'm sorry, Craig, this is not,
I understand. Can you
we're
give me
not,
the
we're not
time?
we're not allowing any other members of the
I
room
understand that.
to give our opinion, and that wouldn't be fair.
If I can alleviate a lot of the crap that's just gone on
I think
in
we
the
all
last
need to
half hour.
talk, we all need to talk one at a time, and there's a little bit of confusion right now.
Who's controlling
So
this?
that's what we're trying to do right now,
okay.
because everyone is
Actually,
speaking,
Craig,
and Ben is not
I
allowed to
appreciate
conduct
you,
this.
I will wait
appreciate
till
you
the
coming.
end, and if you would give me my time at the end.
Well, I appreciate you coming, Craig,
Yeah.
and as Sergeant at Arms, also as the head judge up here.
Yep.
We can't allow you
I understand
to
that.
express your opinion or
It's
what you
not an
want to say.
opinion.
Okay.
It's a statement, I've rewritten what I was gonna say so that no names are.
If you would like, after the meeting, you'd like to come to me,
In fact, if someone
and
can
you'd like to
teach
send that
me
to
how
me,
to
Craig,
print
can I finish, please?
Yes,
Craig?
please.
And if you would like to send that to me,
Yeah,
I'll make sure that it is published, with the approval.
yeah. What if I just send it to you now and you can do whatever the hell you want with it?
You could send it to me, but
You
if
can
we
stay
allow
here till
you.
11:30, but rest assured, what's on this phone right now,
Yep.
there's a couple of people in this room that know what I'm gonna say, and I believe it will put us, you can go back to what you were doing, and it'll take the 5 minutes. that I spent. Yep.
I can't let you speak anymore.
I understand, and I'm willing to wait till
Okay,
the
point of
end.
order, can we continue with this meeting, please?
Thank you. I'm on my way home. How do I get this to you?
If you come here right now, I'll give you my email address.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, brothers and sisters. By the way, this is my first and last meeting, first in 14 years, for a very good reason. Because of what's just gone on up till now.
Jai,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Jai, since Frank mentioned your name, was the context that he used it, do you wish to rebut what he said?
Oh, Ben, I did not mention his name. I said people have
Yes, you
talked
did.
about it.
Yeah, you did.
But in all fairness, he didn't do it in the wrong for him.
Again.
Can I say something, please?
Let Jai-
Let Jay decide.
He mentioned my name, he didn't do it in any degrading manner. He's just reiterating something that I said, and I have no issues with it. And I do not,
there if you want it. You don't want it.
and I don't need to rebut or anything.
Let's go.
Let's move on. We don't need to have
Suckered into that job, eh?
ambiguity.
All right.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Okay.
We're gonna move on now.
Yeah.
Can I also ask for the mumbling in the background, please, because it is very loud at the front? So allow each candidate to answer the question, and please be as quiet as possible. And maybe in between questions is when you get coffee or water, because it is very loud. Okay, thank you.
And I apologize for wasting your time, but I think you'll find that it was not, would not have been a waste of time. Enjoy your day.
Okay, we're gonna start with Jagtar with this one. Rochelle, do you wanna read this question out, please?
Hope the mic was off.
So question number 5, what, when, and how they plan to end the toxic environment we have at our workplace? So I'll read it one more time. What, when, how they plan to end the toxic environment we have at our workplace?
The question is that.
Very great question though. That's what exactly we are going to right now at the moment. Again, coming back again, like it's just a membership doesn't have a faith in Exactive though. Number one, I believe like it's bringing accountability as well as a building a trust where they can come and talk to you guys. And I believe like in a humanity and respect as well. But like again, we have to their privacy and confidentiality is more important as well. If we keep maintaining that, that's important as well, where they are assured that nothing will be disclosed, and that's more important as well. That's where we are lacking the confidence there. Like membership we have to build that relationship and trust though. Number one. Number two, I think like mistakes can be fixed, forgiven, and move on though. We have to bring a system where all the membership do understand that mistakes happen and we can move on from there, and we can create an environment where they can trust each other again. Then again the negotiation, like all those, sorry, again coming again to the our resolution committee, all those committees where the involvement is more important as well. We have to build a strong relationship in there. We have to build a strong resolution committees where they can come after, and then they can talk to them, all the members, involve them. They can, if I get elected, I believe like we have to have a monthly meetings as well. I don't think so they had any meeting in last 3 years. Which I'm not aware of. They have to be part of, we have to involve all the membership as well. That's not.
Firstly, we have to understand what the meaning of a union is. It's a body of people coming together to unite and move forward. Right now, everyone is requesting changes. And in order to build a stronger union, we have to change our attitude towards one another. We have too much infighting going on, disrespect, both in person and on social media, as you guys can see. We call ourselves brothers and sisters, but yet we attack one another in different forms, and this is wrong. So in order for us to have a unified union, we need to change our attitude, start respecting one another, and move forward, join forces, move forward to build a stronger union and a better workplace for each of us. With respect to confidentiality, I was watching something on social media recently, as early as this morning, people talking about people going back to management with what happens in the union. And this is wrong. How can we trust each other when this sort of stuff is happening within ourselves? People who are here, and whatever happens in the meeting, it's for the union members only. And we have to try to preserve this. Why is it when our meeting is finished, people at management already know 1 hour later what went on in our meetings? This is wrong. If we are to build a strong union, we have to have trust in one another. Thank you.
Is it okay to say I agree with them and not have a rebuttal?
That's fine.
Okay. Well, I agree with Jai. So, the toxic work environment. We seem to create a work environment, like on social media, as Brother Jai was saying, that we have, since this nominations started, we have one dedicated site to attack the president, and the other one to attack the vice president. So for the last 2 weeks, and it's not just held to social media, we held it to in-person groups, get-togethers to do this. We create our own toxic work environment. We've had, and I won't get into any names or anything else, we've had a group of maybe 6 or 7 people filing complaints with HR for the last 3 years. We've had maybe 10 investigations that have yielded 10 years worth of time, 10 years worth of the union's time, 10 years worth of HR's time. Sorry, 3 years, not 10 years. But all these come back. Management's getting to the point where these investigations are either going to stop or people are going to start getting fired because they're just frivolous complaints that one group is against another group and against another group, and we keep going and going and going. And I can truthfully tell you, 2 of the complaints were against me. Neither of the 2 people got what they wanted. Their complaint came back with no findings, and they're the less happy for it because they're not too happy about the outcome. So when you want to file a complaint against somebody, make sure it has merit, and there's evidence, but we have people filing complaints over and over and over again, and management just thinks that this union is a joke. We're not together. We want to spread unity up on this podium, right? Unity can only happen if the membership's on board with it. It doesn't matter who you have as an executive. Unity can only happen if the entire membership, not just pockets of groups that think they're gonna yell out unity at the top of the mountain, and it's just gonna happen. Because unless 1,200 people are on board with this unity, it will never happen. So we either all get together and show management that we actually give a shit about this union, or we just keep doing what we're doing, and they'll make sure that we don't get any.
Thank you for the question. I do believe that within our membership, there is a culture of toxicity. I believe that you see it on the social media groups, you see it in the lunchrooms, some drivers are at each other's throats, and it does need to stop. I believe that starts with the executive. The executive acts as the leadership of the membership, and through examples of respect, of communication, by actually listening to our members to address concerns, I believe that will in turn reflect on the membership. We are united, and that unity has been decompartmentalized due to bad apples. That needs to stop. And I want to see a utilization of the resolution committee to address individuals, to address people that may have issues with other people. The union needs to act as the mediator for these individuals. The union needs to assist in drawing a path towards peace. We can do it together, and we have the avenues, we have the resources to make it happen. I do believe that incorporating more social events within our union will also add to a sense of camaraderie, so that everybody feels together. When I was younger, my father would bring me to these social events, barbecues, just gatherings in general. People would come up with their friends, their coworkers, their children, and back then our union was a family. Today we don't have that feeling anymore, and I want to bring that back. I think we can do it. I think if I am elected, I can start the process immediately with the executive, and in turn, we as a membership will find solution, will find true unity. Thank you.
As Andrew said there, as a president, we're supposed to unite everybody. We already got procedures there for the union, how to go about to diffuse all the toxicity in the workplace. One of them is union's resolution committee, that if you have a complaint, that you gotta bring it to the union first before we go to the management. Hopefully I will try to reach as many people as possible, try to advertise for the people to follow the rules of the union. Because don't forget, when we take an oath and we say we're gonna bring the union first before we bring any other authority into our complaint or a disagreement, we should work on that aspect of it. As Andrew says there, which I agree with it 100%, we gotta bring this unity from the top down as an executive level to all the membership and try to convince everybody that we're stronger together and we would fall if we divide. Thank you.
Our next question is a question from Derek Jeffrey.
Ben, could I just interject for a second? In the rules, we mentioned name calling, and I know it's not in any way, but I think we should ask candidates to try and refrain from the name calling. So I just think, just to be clear that we're on the same path, and that just to make sure that everybody's not, thinking that, once a name is called, we should actually be asking the person if they want to say something about the name being called.
Nothing.
We could address that by saying, I agree with my brother.
Okay.
Would that be?
Can you guys do that? That's what you guys agree with that? I agree with my brother instead of I agree with Jai, I agree with Andrew.
I didn't know it's such a
Big deal.
inappropriate
Yeah.
reference there.
It's not a big deal. It's not pointing finger on anybody. It's just supporting them. That's all.
If the person wants to take advantage of a rebuttal, they'll raise their hand.
Yeah.
If they find that they have a rebuttal for what was said. Okay?
No,
That's okay.
All right.
no, it's just
So the next one,
very pointing finger on
Derek
anybody.
Jeffrey, could you read your question, please?
Morning, presidential candidates. So, just a little background in maintenance, the amount of work that leaves the property that we don't touch is unreal right now. So this question kind of touches on that. So presidential candidates, what specific language on work leaving maintenance would you like to implement in the future contract? Please be specific.
I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not familiar with the facts that, or the procedures that are going on in the maintenance department as it relates to work being contracted out. But I think if there's work that can be done at our facilities, the priority should be for our employees to do the work. No work should be contracted out once it can be done in our facility. As a presidential candidate, if I'm chosen, I will liaise with the departments in that area and find out what is required and work with the people in that department to prevent work from being contracted out.
Thanks for that question, Eric. So in maintenance, and we have in our contract that maintenance can contract out buses to be fixed or repaired, but cannot affect basically anybody's job. They can't lay anybody off. So the amount of stuff, most of the stuff that they say they sent out is for preventative maintenance, oil changes, and then it usually comes back with an $8,000–9,000 bill because they repaired an engine. We've discussed this over and over, and I believe all the maintenance board member and the two shop stewards were involved in these meetings to try to get a better understanding of how much it costs to send a bus out and how much it costs to be repaired inside. And we went through that whole process, and then there was a stop put to it because we understood that if we try to push the issue, that they might find that fixing them outside was cheaper than fixing them internally. Anyway, the contract should be changed when we do negotiate the next contract, that no oil changes should be leaving the garage because we have our own lube techs. Maybe we should hire more lube techs. The tire changes, we get a tire technician from Benson Tires coming into the building. We've been trying to get facilities people to get licensed. We have one person that's licensed but not certified yet. He needs some sort of hours, just like a mechanic apprentice would. So those are all changes that have to be done through the contract, and better language. Again, better language. What's it gonna say? It's gonna say what can go out, what can't. Engine repair or engine rebuilds, we can't do because we don't have facilities. Transmission rebuilds, we don't have the facilities for that. So those are either we build facilities or we send that out. But the rest of it can be done in-house, and we just need to hire more mechanics or more apprentices to facilitate all that. Until that's done, it can't be changed. But hopefully in the next contract, we can have all that incorporated, more mechanics, more apprentices, and more work done in-house, and be specific of what can go out.
Thank you for the question, Eric. Right now, there is a letter of understanding that protects maintenance employees from losing their jobs in case there is excessive contracting out of work by the management. I would like to include language in our next contract that addresses the mechanic to bus ratio with other transit services in our area, like TTC and Mississauga. I would also like to see language that sees warranty work kept in-house and training provided to mechanics so that they can fulfill those duties. As Brother Fanny did say, I do believe language is necessary to keep preventative maintenance in-house. And I believe through strategic changes in our contract and our contractual language with regards to the maintenance, we can see reduced amount of labor being contracted out to third-party vendors. I don't know why management seems to think it's a better option to send the work off property. It's more expensive to do so. Oftentimes, buses come back just as broken as when they left, but they don't make it back, and maintenance is responsible to pick up the pieces regardless. So I do believe through these changes in the language regarding maintenance, we can see a reduction in the contracting out of work. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Derek. Contracting out there been in our radar all the time. Every time we go for contract negotiation, we would like to have a stronger language in there, but unfortunately, we're not successful for bringing it about. As my brother mentioned already, we already have a letter of understanding that it would not allow them to lay off the mechanics by contracting out the work to be done at the maintenance department. What we could do in the meantime, before we come to the next negotiation, is to prevent any outside workers to come inside our building and perform the work, either in the different areas of the shop. If, as Brother Vanny over here mentioned, if it's a Benson tire coming in, if we will prevent them from coming inside the building and doing the work, it's gonna make it harder for the management to try to contract out as much as possible. If we look at all the maintenance record on the buses that is leaving the property, time-wise is not working for a management advantage. The bus leaves, it takes them 2 to 3 months there to get it back. Therefore, they have a unit down, which they cannot utilize it for services because the unit is not here at all. In order for them try to keep the work more inside than sending it outside, if we make it harder for them to get the work done, to help them out in the meantime by working inside the shop, either they're under the umbrella of the warranty work, any other excuses that they bring, therefore we're gonna be a little bit more successful. In negotiating time there, we're gonna try to make the language stronger, but what we gotta realize is how much we can get when we're gonna be at the negotiating table. Is this an issue that everybody's willing to walk on it? That is when we're gonna bring it to the membership and they're gonna decide if we would like to make it a stronger language or we should let it stay the way it is. Thank you.
Again, great question, there's no doubt that need to be addressed. Again, so they are contracting out, but there's a language saying that they can contract out without layoffing or anyone out of the mechanic or without any work. But again, that need to be addressed where we have to make sure that we are accountable them to a responsibility of that. By we all know that we suffer as well as the employer suffers as well when they contract out the work. The quality of the work is not that great though. But again, but when coming back to, we have to perform another. I will believe like we can make sure we form a committee which can oversee the work, which one's contracted out, where we can fight back. The more specific language need to be addressed as well as the performance of the work. Giving you an example, under maintenance, remember our snow, when they contracted out the snow removal work during one of the winter, where the work wasn't, we had to suffer as operators, and then we were, none of the terminals were clear though. And that need to be we have to overlook again those things, like when we can hold them responsible that the performance of the work wasn't that great, and we can get the work performance better out of there. again, hiring more resources as well. We can, coming contract, we can ask for more, hiring more mechanics as well as other maintenance staff.
Okay. Thank you. At this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Get everybody get up, stretch, have a drink, grab your drinks now if you want. In 5 minutes, we'll reconvene and we'll continue. All right, so question 7 is a repeat again, so we're moving on to question 8. And that was sent to us by Sheila Kelly. So she's not here.
So question number 8, just let me know when you're done, Mark. What plans do you have to make the part-time unit feel more inclusive of Local 1573? So again, what plans do you have to make the part-time unit feel more inclusive of Local 1573?
I guess I'm first.
Yeah.
All right, so I know that for 13 years, the part-timers, which includes the call center, the coin room, the service centers, which used to be the concessions, of the contracts, they have their own contract, which is, for some unknown reason, it's negotiated separately than the full-time contract. Even as far as the last contract, I don't think there was very much discussed except for their raise, and apparently they got pants, from what I understand. The contract, the part-timers are just like the rest of us, even though the word part-time is in front of them. They should be, there is a couple of full-timers, one I believe is in the call center, and the lead cashiers in the two get more hours than the regular part-timers. But that does have to be addressed in the contract, and it does have to be addressed where they get negotiated with the full-time contract versus trying to negotiate them separately. There is only 51 of them, and it's a little difficult to negotiate it by themselves. And I know that past presidents have had issues with the negotiations usually lasted for 1 day. Here's what they're getting, and that was the end of it. So it does need to be addressed, and making commitments is just going to be lying to you. So I won't make any commitments about the part-timers, but they will be addressed, and they'll be addressed in the full-time negotiations.
Thank you for the question, Sheila. I do believe that we can bring a sense of camaraderie to the part-time sector if we make moves to include the shop steward for the part-time in the executive meetings. I do believe that the executive, at least the 2 board members at each garage and the president, should also arrange to meet with part-time staff on a quarterly basis to discuss issues that are going on in the contact center on a one-on-one basis, and allow members the opportunity to have an additional chance to speak about issues if they don't want to speak about it at the regular GMM. Personally, I think it's the president's responsibility to check on all divisions within the local: operations, maintenance, part-time, and if I am elected president, I'll make it a priority to ensure that I'm visiting these areas of work and having personal dialogue with members in the part-time area and any other division of transit. Thank you.
As a president there for the past so many times that we've been in the negotiation, we realized that we're not getting anything substantial for the part-time. In order for them to feel included with us there, we should try to expand and get some benefit for them, some sick days for them, and as our brother Frank said, to include them at the time that we're doing a full-time workers negotiation. At that time, it's going to give us a little bit more punch in it, because then the management realizes that they got to deal with the whole membership instead of having it divided between full-time and a part-time. All is, as we go forward, if gonna depend on all the representatives who representing different divisions. Again, there is we united at the executive, and there is enough communication going on, we would be aware of all the difficulties that they're going through. And we try to amend it the way, the best we could, try to include them in some of the benefits that we enjoy as a full-timers and they don't have any access to. Thank you.
Great question again. They are also, no doubt, they can consider as a part-timers, but they belong to our family. And I believe that communication is a key, where if we are communicating with them in a way where the message being spreading across, it will be more helpful and they don't feel left out though. But second thing as well, when coming to contract again, negotiating as a whole is better though. This gives us a better opportunity to get them a good contract, then they don't feel left alone. Third thing is communication again, meetings, encouraging them to come to the union meetings, as well as when executive, they should go and contact them, ask them their questions, like answer their questions within their workplaces as well. I think that would be more beneficial if they don't feel left out. Thank
you. As president, if I become president, I will negotiate for the part-timers to become full-time with full pay benefits as drivers, plus all the benefits we get. We are one union and everyone should be treated equally. They pay their dues like everybody else, so when we negotiate, we have to treat them the same. And we negotiate for every department under one umbrella. We shouldn't be negotiating a full-time contract and a part-time contract. We are big enough to know a big organization, and we shouldn't have part-timers who have been here. There are many people who have been here since I started 20 years ago as part-time, and many of them have to go find secondary jobs to make ends meet. So this is something we need to correct. We shouldn't have any part-timers on board. We should only have full-time people. Thank you.
All right, question 9. Ralph Bachu, he's not here.
Okay, so question number 9. What are you going to do to the large amount of letters of understanding that has been added to our contract?
Thank you for the question. This is a large part of my platform. I do not like the amount of letters of understanding we currently have. Letters of understanding give management a strategic advantage. Letters of understanding, can you hear me? Letters of understanding expire with every contract. Therefore, they don't have to be renegotiated. In the past, presidents and management have come to terms and renewed the letter of understanding. However, at any point, at the end of the contract, that letter does not have to be renewed. Where can we see issues with this? A big conversation. Hello?
Should buy some mics.
A big point of concern during this panel is the contracting out of work in the maintenance department, and that is a letter of understanding. At any point in time, at the end of a contract, that letter could be null and void. And of course, we as a union would be responsible to ensure that doesn't happen, but it would give us a leg up if we were to work to incorporate something like that into the contract permanently. So, that is definitely how I would like to combat our letters of understanding. I believe there's too many of them. I want to see them inserted into our contract, and I want to ensure that going forward, we try to avoid them when and where necessary. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. The letter of understanding is just for the special cases. Therefore, it doesn't have no room in the whole contract to be written in. The reason we call them letter of understanding, and everything including our collective agreement comes to an end, there it comes in the end of the term for the contract. everything is up in the air. That whatever we agree to carry on, it will carry on, and whatever we don't agree, it won't carry on, including our collective agreement. Letter of understanding for special purposes, there is no room for it in our contract to put it in. For example, the time off for the financial secretary could vary, and there is no relevant section in our contract that it would accommodate for that. Contracting out there, as my brother Andrew mentioned, those are all letter of understanding, and all the letter of understanding is enforceable until the end of the contract. So at no time they can arbitrarily cancel any one of them. Yes, they can approach the union to change the condition of it, as they already did with our financial secretary for the days off. Instead of having 4 hours each day off, they got 2 full days and 1 half day off. Those are all with the consent of the union, I imagine happened. It should have been brought to whole executive before it gets agreed on, but unfortunately it wasn't. For whatever reason, one way or the other, it's to our advantage or not to our advantage, we already decided that we're gonna go forward. That is true for every article we have in our contract. Everything in there is up to the things there. If they can approach the union, they cannot make amendment to it as long as both parties agree to it. I don't understand the number of the letter of understanding, such a hot issue that it doesn't have to go into particular part of the contract or no. If anybody can show which part of the contract it would be appropriate to have which days and how many hours the financial secretary has to be off, I would be glad to bring it up in the next negotiation. Thank you.
Thanks. Letter of understandings, that's more important though. Like letter of understandings are when they want to try something first time or on a trial basis though. Which should be, by the end of the contract, it should be again put in our contract. There are so many letter of understanding which needed to be addressed though. But again, you're coming back, when it comes to letter of understandings, all the letter of understandings should be approved by membership, as well as not only with the approved by the membership, but brought forward, taken to the for the language, better language purposes. We should get approval from any union lawyer, so that language is in our favor, strong language is in our favor though. That's more important as well. And again, and membership should be over as well, all those letter standings. That's all.
With respect to letters of understanding, I think in the next contract, we should never have any letters of understanding. Everything should be an article in our contract. No, we don't need any letters of understanding because there's a lot of ambiguity with these letters of understanding. And if it's written in our contract, we can follow it word to word. Thank you.
So, as we went down the line, we went from letters of understanding to talking about the financial treasures, hours, and the importance or the reasons why we should have them in our contract. And we talked about the members being apprised of all. Understand that every time we signed a contract, the letters of understanding were part of the minutes of settlement that everybody should have read. And they haven't been changed. We haven't added any letters of understanding. We've changed one. Did we discuss it in our executive board meeting? That's because we had to bring up the notes for 2 of the IBPs that were here this week. I'm sure people know about that, the investigation in the this building. Anyway, and not to, so the letters of understanding are there. The letter of understanding can be changed at any time during the contract as long as both parties agree. They're not written in stone. They can be changed before the contract is over, contrary to what everybody else said, as long as both union and management agree to change them. The financial treasurer's one, management didn't come to me to change it. I went to management to change it because I saw it as the financial treasurer should be here whole days, not half days. Half days, they don't accomplish anything. Whole days, they do accomplish their work because they're here for a full 8-hour day. So when they go to work in the morning and then they come here after lunch in 4 hours, you can't accomplish what you need to accomplish as the financial treasurer. So that was the only reason why it was changed. It had nothing to do with the person in the job, it had nothing to do with me going to management or management coming to me. When it comes to the letters, they can be incorporated into articles. The articles would have to be about contracting out. There's a few other ones that need to be included. There's a few ones, like acting coordinators, they need to be eliminated. We've been talking about eliminating them for years, 13 years since I've been here. We keep talking about we're gonna eliminate them, we're gonna eliminate. We constantly have members going into that role, wanting to be supervisors, and then pissing everybody off and then coming back and saying, now I'm a member of this union again. They were never not members, but now they're allowed to access people's personal information on Hastis. So when it comes to negotiation, that letter will be taken out and we will no longer have acting supervisors. If you want to be a supervisor, you become full-time. But the letters of understanding, some of them do need to be changed and they do need to be addressed. But again, they can be addressed at any point in time.
Rupinder Mathuda, are you here?
No, he's not here.
Nope. Question 10.
Okay, so question number 10. My concern is regarding if you have any concrete plan for modified duty or gradual return to work operator. We are totally dependent on employer, or do they have an IDR independent plan from union for effective members? If you want me to read that again, I can read it again. You're good? Okay. I'll bring you guys the mic.
Thank you very much for understanding that the corporation got responsibility. They have a duty to accommodate, and those are solely falls on the shoulder of the corporation. We as a union already are health and safety department putting as much pressure as possible on the management, try to accommodate for as many people as possible. But there are some restrictions there according to what their abilities are and what their possible positions are available for them to accommodate for the people who are modified. These are something that is protected under the human right. We, at the present time, working very hard at it, and then hopefully in the future, we're gonna keep working hard at it to see if we can get as many of them as possible into any kind of modified work as possible. Thank you.
Again, very good question. As this is what might mean important where their modified duties are offered to the employees. Again, all we can do is we can make sure that all the ESS approved, they get a full union representation, as well as Ontario Health and Safety Act is also looked at it, and that's being said that I know some other members do want it, the work according to their seniority, which is again coming to their modified duties. We have to look at it, what they are allowed to do, and how much workload they can take. Based on that's been offered by the city, and we have to consider that as well. Thank you.
This is a very touchy subject because every case is different, and then it's a matter of confidentiality for people. The employer has a duty to accommodate the people unmodified, and maybe in certain circumstances they don't have the resources or a job for them to do. But as a union, we have to protect our employees, and we have to find ways to try and see how we can rehabilitate through education for our employees who are on modified duty. One of the important things is you know, we have to stop bashing our people who are on modified duty. A lot of them walk around and people make derogatory remarks to them, you know, and this has to stop as union brothers and sisters. So I would like to say we need to, the executive board needs to come together and formulate a plan so that our people who are our brothers and sisters who are on modified duty can be taken care of by management. Thank you.
So when it does come to modified work, and as everybody said, modified, our accommodations are part of the Employment Standards Act. They're part of human rights. They're part of our agreement with management that they have a duty to accommodate. We have quite a few people on modified work right now. And we're looking at getting more people. There's about 5 or 6 people that still need the accommodations, and that's being worked on. They've gotten an email saying that if they don't have an answer by the end of next week, then we will file a complaint with the Human Relations Board, or the Labor Relations Board, and we'll let them decide on how many accommodations they have to. They talk about undue hardship, but the question is, what is undue hardship to the taxpayers? When is a certain amount of money an undue hardship for the taxpayers? And the way transit in the city, council, and everybody else spends money, there is no amount of money that would constitute undue hardship to anybody in the city as long as you're a taxpayer. So why is transit different? That's the question that was asked, and nobody can give me a dollar figure of what it takes. So they've been put on notice to accommodate all the people that need to be accommodated for whatever medical reasons they have, and that's in the process, and we should have an answer by Monday or Tuesday of next week, which is tomorrow or Tuesday of next week. And the majority of the people are still on accommodations. Throughout the pandemic, everybody was accommodated, over 150 people. So that's the most people we've ever had accommodated, whether it be WSIB, LTD, approved, immunocompromised, or just sanitizing buses, over 150 people during the pandemic. So accommodations have always been upheld for the last 3 years, and they'll be continued to be upheld.
Thank you for the question. There is a list of people waiting to be on modified work, and right now the city's argument is that there's no modified work available for these employees. I don't agree that falls in line with the City of Brampton's duty to accommodate, because duty to accommodate, what falls under that would be creating work that's available as well, not necessarily assigning work that already exists. We can create jobs for modified employees to undertake. The City of Brampton is a Schedule 2 employer. That means that they're responsible to pay. They are responsible to pay the WSIB for members that are on it. And I feel the City of Brampton has taken note that there are quite a few members that go on modified leave, and I feel that their blockage of this leave is a strategic point to frustrate the members that are attempting to go onto modified. They tell you there's no modified work available, you're forced to stay home, and when you stay home, WSIB is pressuring you to return to work, and they're threatening you, and they're saying if you don't go back to work, we're gonna cut off this WSIB benefit. There's many layers and factors that involve members receiving modified work. Part of that relates directly to their restrictions, and many people have different types of restrictions. I do believe the City of Brampton is large enough to accommodate these employees. I believe that regardless of what the restriction is, there is a place for these employees, and if elected, I will look into filing a grievance to ensure that these employees that are off or waiting are put to work. That is my plan to combat this issue we're facing with modified employees. Thank you.
It's 11:44.
Okay, all right. So we've crossed our time threshold for the end of the town hall, so we're going to do our closing statements now in the order they were originally drawn. So Frank, 2 minutes for your closing statement, please.
Well, I I don't know what everybody's gonna take away from this. There was a lot of information, but because we really didn't have a debate, we can't talk about some of the information that was given that may not be correct. So take away from what you got out of it, and I hope that everybody shows up to vote. Again, anything you heard here today, maybe you should inform yourselves of it. Make sure it's correct, because I'm not gonna point anybody out, but some of it is incorrect. And again, just look at the information given and educate yourselves and then vote accordingly. This is probably one of the more important elections that we're going to be negotiating a contract, and there's a lot to deal with the contract. There's a lot to deal with a lot of things that we have to deal with as presidents. So thanks for coming, and I'll give it to Andrew now. Want to go next?
Thank you very much. I didn't know my name is up there, thanks. Cutting into my 2 minutes there. Don't have much to say anyway. I agree with everything Brother Frank said over here. Hopefully everybody would sniff through all the information they got today, and hopefully they come up with a wise decision how we have to go forward. All that said, on the side of it, some information, as Frank already mentioned, is not true or it's not accurate. There are, for example, when we're gonna go for negotiation, we don't have an open hand of how many people are gonna be there. It's already dictated in our contract how many people can be there. So we cannot arbitrarily take whoever we want in the negotiation. But all that said there, thank you very much for you guys showing up and participating in this debate or a town hall meeting. And hopefully everybody gonna go with something to take away from this meeting. Thank you very much.
The next one will be Andrew. It was in order drawn, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sisters and brothers,
No.
That's all right, that's fine, Andrew. Go ahead. No worries, that's okay. Go ahead.
sisters and brothers, thank you
Save it
for,
for social media.
Okay, so we just need everyone just allow them to.
But can you control the room?
I,
They're interjecting. Andrew's turn now, so let the
I
man
agree,
speak.
so I'm saying to everybody, please, Andrew, Jack Tar, Jai, and then we'll finish, and then everyone can discuss and continue afterwards, okay? Thank you.
sisters and brothers, thank you for participating in this town hall, whether you're here now or watching on your digital platform. I do want to remind you the importance of voting, and I encourage you all to come out and vote on December 8th. Please do keep in mind the things that you heard today, keep in mind the things that you're hearing in person, keep in mind the platforms that you're viewing online, and consider this as you cast your vote. Thank you.
Sisters and brothers, thanks for coming up, but I'd like to thank Mr. Benke, Brother Benke, for organizing this, taking his time to organize this, as well as to the panel who have put in their efforts, as well as to the members who showed up. I encourage everyone to vote for the right person, as well as for your future. This is a right time. Please cast your votes and be part of it. And thank you.
Thank you, brothers and sisters, for coming out. To my candidates who are vying for the position, I wish you all best of luck in the process. I would like to tell you guys, I will stand for transparency and accountability within the union, and I want you guys to make that choice. Come out and vote. You have had an opportunity to hear everybody's point of view and make the wise choice. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to thank all of the nominees for coming out and for doing this. This is a first for our local. Thank you all for coming, and allow me to close by saying this local is what we make of it. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Ben.
What about the other candidates, Ben? What about the other candidates?
We're done.
We're done with the candidates.
The others that were running, not presidents, the other candidates.
This town hall was